الحمد لله الذي هدانا سبلنا. يا رب لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله مالك الملك ذو الجلال والإكرام. إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. وأشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا وعزيزنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبده ورسوله. من يطع الله ورسوله وأولي الأمر من المؤمنين فلا مضل له، ومن يعص الله ورسوله وأولي الأمر من المؤمنين فلا هادي له، ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه. أما بعد. Dear committed brothers and sisters, this is the first week of Ramadan. Today is the first Jumu'ah, the 5th day of our fasting, or most of us. And we have verses in the Quran that speak, explain, expand the meanings of this month. We also have, and these verses in the Quran are final, unquestionable, and eternal. They begin with Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. And they end with ولا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل وتدلوا بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون. And I think you are familiar with the contents of these ayat, about a page and a fraction in the regular sized Quran. And then we have hadiths. Some of them are agreeable with the context of the Quran. Others are explanatory and non-contradictory with the ayat of the Quran. But then we have some that are problematic. And we shall explain what we mean, because this is a month in which there is a concentration of attention, a heightened consciousness, and a more fervent approach to our duties and responsibilities outlined by Allah and His Prophet. The ayat in the Quran begin with having us understand that fasting is mandatory, it's an obligation. And the purpose of this fasting is taqwa. And we explained in the previous khutbah one of the demonstrations of scriptural history when Musa and his followers were caught between a natural law the Red Sea in front of them, and a social law, the military of the Pharaoh behind them. And Musa alayhi salam demonstrated what it means to have taqwa. They said, "Inna lamudrakun." He said, "Inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdeen." That territory of taqwa, and hopefully it could be understood by the less than average person. The ayat go on in Surah Al-Baqarah to end with وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ. Don't take in your wealth or your finances or your money illegitimately in ways that are not moral and that are not legal. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ. The observation of Ramadan, if it is centered on the meanings of the Quran, all the details therein serve these two purposes: the taqwa of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and social justice or economic justice or financial justice. This is what is meant by our fasting. All of the rest of the psychological or the educational or the informational or the fiqhi details, all of that amount to fillers towards the end of taqwa and the fair acquisition and distribution of wealth. Once again, the ayat that make this clear: Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Clear, no ambiguity about it. And then at the end of the lesson, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ وَتُدِلُوا بِهَا إِلَى الْحُكَّامِ لِتَأْكُلُوا فَرِيقًا مِّنْ أَمْوَالِ النَّاسِ بِالْإِثْمِ وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Now, from that clarity, we enter into a field that needs some work, and that is encountering the hadiths. The number of hadiths pertaining to fasting and Ramadan and all of the issues related to that will exhaust many khutbahs. So obviously we are going to have to select some of these hadiths to see how either they enhance our observance of Ramadan or they don't. One hadith, and all of these hadiths are sahih hadiths. One of these are said to be sahih hadiths. One of these is ثلاث لا يفطرن. There are three things that don't break the fast: القيء والحجامة والاحتلام. Three things that don't break the fast according to this hadith: vomiting, hijama, That is when a person's blood is drained out of his or her body to a certain extent to rejuvenate the circulatory system in the human body, and al-ihtilam, when semen comes out accompanied by excitement. According to this hadith, these three occurrences, these three matters, do not break a person's fast. And then you will have the different opinions on this. What does this all mean? And what are the consequences of all of this? And then those who take issue with this hadith because there are other hadiths that don't agree with this meaning. There's a hadith from Ibn Abbas in al-Bukhari that says, إن النبي احتجم وهو محرم واحتجم وهو صائم. Prophet had this hijama done to him when he was in the state of ihram, and he had it done to him when he was fasting. Another hadith says, من نسي وهو صائم فأكل وشرب فليتم صومه فإنما أطعمه الله وسقاه. Whoever is unmindful and then he may eat something or drink something, and then he realizes, wait a minute, I'm fasting and I ate or I drank something. The Prophet says, according to this hadith, فَلْيُتِمَّ صَوْمَهُ. Let him continue his fasting because Allah wanted to feed this person or to offer him water. A hadith like this fits comfortably within the context of the Quran. The ayah at the end of Surah Al-Baqarah says, رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. O our sustainer, don't take us to task because we forget, or at the time that we forget, if we forget, or if we make a mistake. Another hadith that may be compatible with the meanings of the Quran, رُفِعَ عَنْ أُمَّتِي الْخَطَأُ وَالنِّسْيَانُ وَمَا اسْتُكْرِهُ عَلَيْهِ. In my ummah, making a mistake, the implicit meaning here is an unintentional mistake, forgetting, and being coerced or forced to do something is not going to be recorded. If things are done in this way, then they are not going to be scored against the person who is doing them. Now we come to a hadith